Let me call you sweetheart. I'm in love with you.
Welcome to the B-List, where we talk about everything we love to hate.
And everything that we hate to love.
I'm Tara.
I'm Courtney. Today's show is one that we've actually been really excited to cover because there's so many stories about an elusive creature that lives in the southern part of the United States on America's wing.
Just the tip, if you will.
Just the tip. Just the tip. Well, no, I think there's a lot of shaft dwellers as well.
There's some shaft dwellers.
There are a few.
We're talking about Florida Man, you guys.
Florida Man. Yes. And unlike other creatures, cryptozoology creatures, what would be the word that you would call, Bigfoot, the skunk ape, cryptids. That's the word I'm looking for.
Bigfoot and
this
Nessie
one,
and all that.
the Florida Man has been caught on many occasions. And we have picked out some of our favorites to share with you today.
Yeah.
Do you want to get us started today, Tara?
Yeah, I'll get us started. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Holiday, Florida. We're in Holiday, Florida. I didn't write any of the dates. I don't know why I didn't. Just
some of them didn't have like exact dates that I was seeing because
I think some of them did. I was just in my own little world.
That's all right.
Okay, so Florida man Robert Thomas Houston of Holiday, Florida, was charged with domestic battery after throwing a pizza at his father's face after he found out that his dad helped deliver him as a baby.
What? My dad was in the delivery room. He always talked about how excited he was to cut the cord and everything.
I saw like 2 different articles that I read, so lots of research.
Oh, you know what? We need to transition ourselves over to Florida right now. Watch it.
Responding deputies found him sitting on the porch waiting on them afterwards. And I'm like, what kind of punk calls the police because you got hit in the face with pizza? First of all, whatever.
Right.
The deputy said he walked up to me, turned around, put his hands behind his back, saying he knew I was going to take him to jail. It says that there's no rhyme or reason as to why he got upset that his dad helped deliver him.
I
don't
thought it was pretty standard practice that the dad could be there
in the delivery room. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming he was.
Did we know
drugs?
what kind of? Yeah, probably on drugs. Yes. What kind of pizza? I wonder.
I think it was cheese.
Just a cheese pizza?
That's just...
Well, that's the throw-in pizza. If you're
least
going to throw a pizza.
At least he wasn't wasting any toppings.
Right. Those
toppings
were a couple bucks each.
Yeah, so. Like $1.65 a piece. I should know. My son works at Pizza Hut.
Were there any injuries sustained?
No. He was just hit with some hot pizza.
Hit with some pizza. All right.
I don't think he got hit with a chair or something too, but I don't know why. I just don't understand why he would flip out. I don't understand. Is it worth getting arrested for?
Right. Yeah, I don't understand why you would flip out at something like that, because it's always been known to me that my dad
only licensed doctors will deliver me.
No kidding. This is the same state that's refusing to get their vaccinations.
Yeah.
But we don't need any
It has literally been spring break since the pandemic started. These people it's like another world. We went to Florida this past summer on a family vacation, and it was like another world because they had there might be in other parts of the country. I don't know. I haven't done my research, but we passed by a Kmart. We passed by a Winn-Dixie. I was like, did we step into a time machine? Where are
those
we?
have been out of our state for I don't know how long.
It's been years.
We used to have those businesses were gone. They were no more.
No. If you go to the Shaft,
the magical land.
If you go to the Shaft of America,
the Shaft of America. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I've only been to Florida one time, and it was just to the Panhandle. We went to Pensacola, and it was another world when we went. It was.
Was that during your shark attack?
That was whenever I got attacked by a shark.
Courtney's famous story of getting attacked by a baby shark.
I got bitten by a baby shark. It wasn't anything. One of these days we'll share that one.
All right, Courtney, what do you got?
Well, actually, I'm going to start myself out with a every Florida man needs a Florida woman, and this is a couple.
We gotta be,
This is a couple that acted together. Now I couldn't find their names anywhere. So back in August 10th, 2001 is when I believe either that's when the article came out or this is when it happened. I can't remember. But an unidentified elderly Florida couple chartered a small plane to join the Mile High Club.
That's fancy.
The company was called Fly Key West. They advertised the Mile High Club tours, stating on their website.
So they want people to fook on these planes.
Yeah.
They want, that's what they're for.
They want people to get busy in their tiny planes. They're on their website. It
wouldn't
said,
fly now.
I know, right? Well, this was just
Zing. Wouldn't fly now.
Well, they didn't fly very far.
Okay.
Because let's see, on their website they advertise, "Come fly the very friendly skies." The website beckons. Cleaner than a hotel room, brand new Key West Mile High Club souvenir sheets on every flight.
Well, yeah, you can keep the sheets because
They don't want them.
Your naked, sweaty bodies orifices are all over. Yeah, you're gonna keep the sheets.
Well, they offered I didn't look to see if they still offer this or not, but at the time they offered a 35-minute quickie or a 55-minute sunset flight.
Oh my.
And would even record your mile-high encounter should you request it.
Oh man, wouldn't it be hilarious to be that person who's like, okay, Doug, are we gonna do the 15 minutes? We're gonna do the 15 minutes. We're not.
Yeah. Oh, honey, we don't.
You can't last the 55. Let's be real.
Well, so the back of the plane had been converted into a little love nest with a partition in between the lounge area and the pilot, obviously. So the pilot wasn't all like, "You guys good?
Y'all need some peanuts?
You guys, honey roasted or dry?"
Right.
So anyway. So once this couple was up in the air with their pilot, about 40 miles south of Key West, the couple switched off the communication systems, went into the cockpit, switched off the communication systems, and attempted to hijack the plane at night point and demanded to be taken to Cuba.
Couldn't just get your diddle on and get off the plane, huh?
No, they had to go to Cuba and get their cheap duty-free rum, I guess. I don't know. So a tussle ensues with the pilot, and the elderly man, Florida man, fell against the throttle, causing the airplane to dive into the ocean below. And
it's karma.
the pilot was able to sound off an alarm, and Coast Guard came out, the distress signal. Coast Guard came out. He was floating there in the middle of nowhere. The couple was nowhere to be found because they went down with the plane.
So they died?
They died because they deployed their life jackets while they were still inside of it and couldn't get out.
Yeah,
because
you're just hitting the top of you can't get out.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was a horrible, horrible death for them. And here's the thing is that whenever they picked him up, they found no sign of the plane or the couple because it had already sank, and they couldn't even recover the wreckage or the bodies, because the ocean floor where they were at was 3,600 feet below them, and recovery was just impossible. So they're still down there somewhere. I hope that it was worth it.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
That's ridiculous.
But, Florida man does it
wonder
up
if
well.
I'm going to Google that and see if they still do that. Just in case.
I know, I'm going to have to, I didn't think to look it up, but I'm sure that there's somebody that does it. We're talking about Florida.
This is my shortest one. I did not see the man's name. It says South Florida man was at the Dolphin Mall in Florida. I don't know where that is, but Dolphin Mall.
Okay.
At the Bass Pro Shop. We got those here in Texas. I don't know. I assume everyone else has them in states where people like to do outdoorsy things.
Yeah.
Well, and they have like these huge fish tanks and like the rocks and all the, plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This dude climbed on top of the rocks, did a cannonball into the fish tank, climbed out and ran away. So they never caught him.
Did he have his clothes on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least we got that going for us.
So it's somewhere there's some surveillance of this dude climbing up the, like, rock climbing up the wall in the Bass Pro. And
Were you
then-
able to find it?
No.
Oh man, that would have been fun to put on the video.
That would have been fun for video. But yeah, he, like, yeah, unknown man jumps into the Bass Pro fish.
I've
Fish
seen
tank.
video. I've seen video of people do that before. I don't know if it
That's
was
so
this Florida man,
stupid.
but I
Like, why would you do that?
well, for one thing, I mean, knowing where there a fish tank of all, it's not like it's natural running water.
You're gonna kill those fish.
No kidding.
They live a cushy life in that Bass Pro Shop.
Right? Could you imagine the fish? What the heck is that?
What the fuck?
What? Just swimming around, waiting for lunch.
Right, Deborah's gonna bring snacks soon. We're just hanging out.
And then
Jonathan's gonna clean our tank once a week.
here comes some legs and feet just flailing at you.
Some guy wearing camo and like Crocs.
Hmm. Well,
Yep.
my next one is actually a Florida woman.
Okay.
Because we're not misogynistic here.
We are not.
We're not sexist.
We're
We're,
qualitists. Qualitatists. Qualityists. Qualis.
we believe in equality.
We like the same.
Everything the same. No different.
There's a word for that. I don't know what.
We're podcasters. We're not linguists.
Exactly. We're hairstylists.
We're hairstylists.
Yeah.
December 2021.
Oh, recent.
Yes, this is my most recent one, and we see things like this all over the states, but this one just really kind of cracked me up. Kristen Williams is a 41-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
She worked as an office assistant at Heritage Middle School in Deltona, Florida.
Okay.
She was arrested after meeting a 14-year-old boy at 1 a.m. to smoke marijuana in her van.
Hey, man, she wasn't doing after school program. She
Mhm.
wasn't doing anything wrong.
Nope.
That qualifies as a daycare in Florida.
Yep. She worked mainly with sixth graders and was charged with child abuse without great harm and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
That has some very like Mary Kay Letourneau vibes.
You know what though? There were
No sex, no.
luckily there was no evidence of sexual abuse, but she was arrested.
She's like, you want to go smoke some weed?
Yeah, the parents noticed their kid was missing at like 1:30 a.m. He had already been out of the house for a
I'm
little
sure
bit.
you're just in like a panic too. Where's my kid?
And his stepfather went out looking for him in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
thinking that he was down at the playground or maybe at a friend's house, didn't see him. The mom stayed behind and started doing her mommy sleuthing and went
Yeah.
through call logs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Found an unknown number that she didn't know who it was, called it, no answer. But within a few minutes after calling it, he shows back up. The son shows back up.
Ooh, you're in trouble.
And so she says, okay, where have you been? He fessed up to the whole thing. He was like,
because he's 14.
I was with Ms. Williams and we were smoking weed in her van. And it was in her van. It was in a van. You couldn't-
Immediately, I would think diddler. Immediately, I would be
That's-
like, where's this one?
That's immediately what mom thought.
We're
She
gonna
called the
hash out
police.
some Florida justice.
And whenever they were together and they saw her number come through on the teacher's phone, he was like, "Oh crap, that's my mom," and requested
Yeah, like I gotta
that
go home.
she take him home right then.
Yeah, 'cause it's too late for me to
So
walk home.
yeah, you can't walk home. Like I said, there was no evidence of any sexual abuse.
I don't know,
But she
that's fishy.
yeah,
Something's-
she
that's not right.
she told law enforcement that she often acts as a mentor to troubled youth and uses group chats to talk a lot. And the 14-year-old boy in question here, he had been to her home on occasion, but that was to hang out with her son. And
That's how it started with Mary Kay Letourneau.
I know
She
exactly.
was grooming him.
I know that's what it sounds like to me.
Like
is
they
probably
weren't having
grooming.
sex yet, just because they caught her beforehand.
Right. She got caught in time. But she was shortly released that night on like $3,000 bond. I looked everywhere to see if she's had her trial or if she's had her, arraignments or whatever like that. I was just trying to get an update. Couldn't find an update. And this just happened back in December of 2021. So she may not have even made her way through the justice
probably
system
not.
yet. But yeah, that's what this genius Florida woman did.
Okay, now we're taking it to Bunnell, Florida. this Florida man was driving with a clown mannequin and accused of having a live grenade in the back of his pickup truck.
Was it secure or just rolling around?
Lewis Wyatt Branson was charged with driving with an expired license, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of firearm weapon, ammo, and convicted. He was blah, 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 sorry, possession of firearm of a weapon and ammo by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana and cocaine. I just thought it was funny. He was driving around with a clown mannequin.
Where do you get a
Was
clown?
he trying to get like
Did
an
he-
HOV lane? Like he wanted like hit a.
Maybe did he make it or did he like pre-purchase it? Clownmannequins.com. I
It's
wonder
like
if that's a
sex doll.
thing.
It's like a sex
A
doll.
sex doll. And some people have that fetish, so who knows? But I'm
You can take me, but don't take my woman.
What?
She's just like.
You reach over and squeeze the nose.
She's got the big old shoes on.
That's my lady.
And a grenade. Like, what happens if you get hit or something? Like,
That's what I'm wondering. Is like, was it secure in a box? Was
is
it
it
just
like rattling around in the back of his truck
Yeah,
with a bunch
there's
of like empty Bud Light cans and
What
good
is this?
lord.
I have a kind of a famous Florida man. This happened back in June 14th, 1991. I did get the date on that. Marshall Ledbetter Jr.
Okay.
He was a student at the time, 22, student of Florida State University.
I thought we were just gonna say student of Florida.
Student of Florida, Florida School, Yale, Harvard.
He took Clown Mannequin 101.
Right. He was a design
Yes. The
design mogul for clown mannequins.
grenade pickup trucks
He-
driving school.
He was a big fan of photography and psychedelic drugs, such
Oh.
as LSD and magic mushrooms.
Those go together like peanut butter and ladies.
Exactly. What he's known for is he broke into the Florida State Capitol building by breaking in a window one morning. He blockaded himself in an administrative office wing and called police, inciting his standoff.
Yeah.
Demanded that society wake up and stop being automation clones of one another. Now, he's obviously having some sort of psychotic break. He thinks he's being an
Yeah.
activist. As he's talking to police, he decides that he's going to fax a list of demands to a local radio station. I
Wait,
think
when is this?
this was in 1991. This
Okay.
is June,
I was like,
in
he's
June of 91.
faxing it? What year is this?
Yeah, this is 91 when the fax machine
Hang
was-
on, let me. Yeah.
So he faxes this list of demands to Gulf 104, the local radio station.
Okay.
And he asks for a large veggie pizza, a carton,
pizza.
a veggie pizza,
No meat.
no meat,
Okay.
a carton of Lucky Strikes, $100 worth of Chinese food, which good call. You know, if you're gonna go down, might as well
I
get
mean,
yourself a good
Get yourself some sushi.
Chinese,
or
yeah,
some sweet and
something.
sour. Yeah.
an ounce of marijuana.
He can call the teacher.
He can call the teacher. He was too old. He was 22. He was too old.
Oh,
for her.
okay. Yeah.
He wanted one CNN news crew and 666 donuts for the police that were standing off outside.
Okay.
Because,
that's
you know,
nice.
he's a good guy.
That's very nice.
He had a few other demands too. He also demanded that he could speak to Timothy Leary, which,
Okay.
if you don't know, he was a doctor that was an advocate for the use of
LSD
LSD,
and,
psychedelic drugs, you know, mind expansion drugs.
Yeah.
Jello Biafra, which if I remember right, I think he was the lead singer of the Dead Kennedys,
Oh, okay.
and went on to write a song about this a few years later as well. Ice Cube.
Like
and-
the Ice Cube, or he just wanted an Ice Cube?
I'm assuming that he wanted the person Ice Cube and not just because in Florida an Ice Cube is not going to last long.
It's not gonna just end one Ice Cube.
And one Ice Cube, and he also wanted to talk to Lemmy Kilmister, who, you know, from Motorhead. Lemmy
yeah,
from
from
Motorhead.
Motorhead. Yeah.
And these were his demands. He wanted to speak to all of them. of course, he didn't get his wishes. What they did is
I mean, they might have came if you would have ordered more than one pizza. And it would not be a veggie
A
pizza.
veggie pizza. What kind of psycho just orders a veggie pizza? They apprehended him by tricking him. They had a reporter read his list of demands over the private Capitol CCTV system, like it was a
Yeah.
news report. And he thought it was a real news report, and so he came crawling out of the wing of the Capitol that he was in, and it lured him out long enough for police to apprehend him. And he was taken to Florida State Hospital, where he was court ordered to accept antipsychotic drug treatments. And he kind of became a folk hero at his school, where people were making like free Marshall Ledbetter t-shirts,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing.
I can't believe I've never heard of this.
And you know, he kind of faded away into whatever
Obscurity, yeah.
obscurity. And sadly enough, he died in 2003 by his own hand. I couldn't find the manner in which he took his life, but he is sadly no longer with us. But
I
he
mean,
was,
a lot of it sucks when it's, you know, it's like a mental health situation's happening. There's something
Right.
happening here.
but what I found funny about it was not the mental health or that he,
Yeah.
he took over. It's his
That's
list
a hell of a
demands.
list.
Yeah, and especially whenever
I could just see like Lemmy's like, is there meat on that pizza?
yeah, and like I said,
And they're like, no, and he's like, no.
and like I said, Jello Biafra, or I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He
I keep thinking that you're saying Jello Beyonce, and I'm like, is that a new thing I should be into?
I know that's,
Like,
I'm afraid I'm gonna
Is that
say
what
that.
is that what the new kids are into? I don't know.
Right.
And by
But-
new kids, on the block. That's what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're still around.
They're still around. They're
But
still
yeah,
kicking it.
so rest in peace, Michael Ledbetter.
Rest
Or
in
I'm sorry,
peace.
Marshall Ledbetter. I probably keep saying Michael, but it's Marshall
That's crazy.
Ledbetter Jr.
Okay, this next one's kind of a bummer. Gainesville, Florida. I actually saw, I don't know if it was like 2020 or Dateline or something like that, but I actually saw an episode about this. In Gainesville, Florida, a man was accused of killing his best friend and asking Siri where to hide the body. That's like just a small part of this stupid story.
Mhm.
Pedro Bravo murdered Christian Aguilar after finding out he was dating Bravo's ex-girlfriend who he'd been trying to win back. Like, just take the L and walk away. How many of these stories of murdered people where the fragile male ego, these people cannot just walk away?
Just find somebody else to obsess over.
I think he ended up strangling him, and yeah, and these are like young kids. They're like 19, 20 years old. They're young kids. And from everything that I read about Christian Aguilar, he had everything going for him. He was going to college. He was like doing the damn thing.
Mhm.
And this kid had lost his girlfriend, and then they started like talking, and he just got upset that like getting in the way of me getting
That's
my
so
girlfriend
sad.
back.
That's
Which
so
has
sad.
nothing to do with him. Like, if she doesn't want you back, she doesn't want you back. Like, we're gonna
Right.
kill somebody over it. But he got found guilty of first-degree murder and received a life sentence without a possibility of parole, as he should, because maybe don't kill people.
Now find yourself a boyfriend.
It's just crazy. Like, I was just talking about this the other day. Like, when you're that age and you're that young, like, your brain isn't fully functioned. It's not grown yet, so you're making very impulsive decisions.
Yeah, but there was at no point that I ever planned to kill somebody or
No.
snuff somebody out. I mean, good grief.
I can't even think of like the worst thing I did to like, other than like talk behind their back or like,
Yeah, I
you
maybe
know,
started a rumor or something.
started
about,
a rumor
or
like
let somebody's secret out of the bag, but that was
ruin
like the
someone's
worst.
favorite T-shirt or something. But you
Right.
don't like.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just.
that's so sad.
I saw this video on TikTok the other day of. It's like car restorers. They like clean and restore cars or whatever. And this person had poured, I'm guessing it's paint thinner, I don't know what, all over this guy's car. And it was like a beautiful, I don't know what kind of car it is because I'm not a car person.
Mhm.
But so the paint job was all messed up. And then you know that like spray foam for like houses, like insulation
Yeah.
spray foam? They put it in the motor, they put it in the gas tank, they put it in the exhaust kit. This woman was pissed. Like someone cheated on somebody, and this is what happened to that person's car. It was hilarious. You
That's
just see,
expensive.
yes, you don't see the woman who's like going over the video, but you just see her finger like it was in like, you know, like the cigarette lighter thing and all like all the orifices, the air conditioning vents, everything was just like this like
Foam just coming out of
this
everything.
dried foam was like
Oh,
yeah, because you know it
no.
expands and hardens, and so that's all, it was all through there, and you just see her poking at it, and she's like, I can't fix this.
Oh, that's awful.
I'm like, I don't know what you did. Not victim blaming, but whatever you did.
But yeah, that
You should have done it to a dumber girl. This girl was smart. She will ruin your life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I've got another one here that is a Florida woman.
Okay.
Because like I said, there's crazy on both sides of the coin.
There is.
This happened in September of 2019. So this happened a little while ago.
Okay.
Now she was with her husband at the time because behind every good Florida man is a good Florida woman.
Good Florida woman.
Gloria Lancaster. Now this didn't happen in Florida. They were traveling together. Her husband Edmund had stopped at a truck stop outside of Baton Rouge. This truck stop had a petting zoo with various exotic animals, and one of the animals was a camel named Casper. I'm already laughing when I come to this story.
Casper the camel?
Casper the camel.
Okay.
So they had gotten out to walk their deaf dog around. The dog couldn't hear.
Deaf dog.
And for whatever reason, they decide to toss some treats under the barbed wire fence into the camel's enclosure.
Okay.
The dog goes in, of course.
Oh no.
The camel starts attacking the dog. I don't think that the dog got hurt.
Okay.
But it started coming at and stomping at the dog.
Okay.
Because it's...
I thought that dog, we're going to lose the dog for a minute.
No, that's not
Okay.
the funny part of the
That's
story.
not the punchline. Okay.
That's not the
Sorry,
punchline
sorry.
yet.
Continue.
So it causes Miss Lancaster to enter the enclosure to retrieve their dog. And during the retrieval process, the camel also perceives her as a threat, because whenever she was trying to get the camel off of the dog, she's shoving and swatting at it and trying to get it out of the way. And camels, apparently, when they feel like they're endangered, especially toward a smaller animal, they'll sit on the animal.
She got sat on.
So she got sat on by this camel. And
what's his name again?
Casper.
Casper. No, Casper.
Well, don't worry. She escapes with her life, fortunately.
Okay.
But in order to do so, while the camel is sitting on her, she inhales a mouthful of the camel's genitalia. And proceeds to bite it as hard as she can.
Ew. None of mouthwash in the world. Oh my god. Gross.
And it works.
I
The camel
mean,
jumps off of her and scurries off.
well, yeah, he's like, who's sucking my nuts? And like,
She didn't make it out unscathed, though, because she suffered minor injuries to her abdomen, her neck, her shoulder, her arm, and head. And witnesses said that she claimed that it broke her ribs and collarbone while she was there, but then she smoked a cigarette just fine after it happened, so they don't know.
how do you even, how do you explain to your doctor?
Well, I just bit the camel's penis.
So what I had
And
to
well,
do.
and it didn't really tell her. I mean, because I would think that a camel has quite a bit to work with. So was it the twig or the berries that she got a mouthful, or was it just she just had a large mouth that just
unhinges her jaw and just like takes it in? Oh.
The camel suffered very little damage to his area. He antibiotics were administered just in case, because it did break the skin, but it seemed to be fine. They were cited, Mr. and Miss Lancaster were cited for violating the local leash laws with their dog.
Are you serious?
And
She's
trespassing.
like, I got a mouth of camel scrote, and you're gonna charge me?
You're gonna charge me. And they got a trespassing charge, and the truck stop was not found at fault for anything, because there were signs posted everywhere: "Do not enter these enclosures," or anything like that. And so, because they had that signage,
I wonder how many times they had that happen. Like, Earl, happened again. Casper done sat on somebody.
Go get the penis salve.
That y'all my camel now. That camel's gonna get an infection. We don't know where your mouth's been.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I made it through that one. I didn't think I'd make it through that one.
All right, my last one is is a woman. It's a, and it cracked me up because the article was called McRage.
Ooh.
Woman sets car on fire after man refuses to buy her a McFlurry.
Well, it sounds justified.
This is in Jacksonville, Florida. A woman was very upset that the man she was with wouldn't buy her a McFlurry. One witness said she saw her pour alcohol and gasoline on the car. I'm like, what kind of McDonald's were they hanging out at? Where she's just got alcohol and gasoline at her disposal at the McDonald's.
How good are these McFlurries? You know what? What would have happened when she got there and the ice cream machine was broken? Because
she would have set the whole building on
the
fire.
whole building just
like Angela Bassett walking away from that car on fire. Yes. The car, FYI, was a 1994 Eldorado, and yeah, she set it on fire and ran away. But I don't think you're gonna get away with that. Like, they got their surveillance at the McDonald's.
Did it happen at the McDonald's?
At the McDonald's.
Why couldn't she go get her McFlurries? Aren't that expensive?
Because when you have standards and you're on a date, you
That's
expect
true.
your man to pay for your McFlurry.
That's true. That's true. Good grief. Does she get? I wonder if she gets anything in it, or if it's just something tame, like just put some Oreos
Like Oreo.
in it. Like you can't just go get some cookies and cream ice cream somewhere.
The judge is like, explain yourself, Tammy. And she's like, have you ever had a McFlurry?
It's one of the best desserts in
It
the world.
speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Like, could you not have gone to the Wendy's? I don't want Wendy's.
Does it look like I want a Frosty?
Does it look like I want a Frosty? Does a Frosty have delicious bits of M&Ms and Oreos in there? No.
And the Arby's was out of Jamocha shape.
We ain't got money for Starbucks. We're driving an Eldorado. I like to think that she keeps like little things of alcohol and gasoline, just like flasks in her pocket.
I think that's what Florida residents do.
I think you're distributed them at birth, I think. But just in case.
Some states just want to watch the world burn. So
That's true.
Well, I'm going to take mine to one that happened a long time ago.
Ooh.
And we've been talking about all these criminals. This one is a little bit more fun. It's not, we'll
Not
end
dangerous.
this.
Okay.
We'll end this on a happier note. February 1948. This is in Clearwater. Clearwater is a sleepy little village of about $15,000 15,000 residents.
Sign me up.
It's probably one of the wealthiest communities in Florida.
We're gonna get so many messages.
Sorry, Florida.
We're not shitting on Florida.
Listen.
We know where you're from.
You know where you're from, and you know what? We have a lot of stories about Texas man. Too,
We're from
so.
Texas. Her husband's from Oklahoma. I give him shit about being from Oklahoma all the time.
He gives himself shit for being from Oklahoma. But so the Sleepy Village just to clarify, has about 15,000 residents, not dollars. They have much less dollars.
Much less dollars.
I
have much less
I
dollars.
have much less dollars.
Not enough for a McFlurry.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This a local beach explorer was out and about. He discovers these huge footprints that are like 14 inches long and 11 inches wide roundabout. And the stride of these tracks are like 4 to 6 feet. Just huge. Bigfoot. Well, it would become to be known as the Clearwater Monster in its lore.
Okay.
The tracks also, after it appeared in Clearwater, they had started appearing at other local beaches like Honeymoon Island and St. Pete Beach, and it caught the attention of the local media, and pictures were printed in the paper with like the police investigating it, and so it caused this local stir, and there were like two groups of people. There were the ones that were like, we got to hunt this creature down, whatever it is. We got to hunt it down. And then the other people were like locking themselves in their houses at night. Like, we don't want to encounter this thing. This thing's got to be huge.
I'd be more like, can we just let him be? Like...
And it was kind of like these kind of almost flipper-like feet with 3 toes. And
so like people had seen it, or they had just seen like tracks?
They had seen the footprints of it. It would come out of the surf, and then it would go for a couple of miles sometimes, and then go back into the surf.
Okay.
And it caught the attention of a New York-based zoologist named Ivan Sanderson, who thought that this creature, which a cryptid, would make him
Yeah.
famous because
Right.
he had already written a book about cryptids in Africa that he had gone on, jungle tours to try to
You know they
find.
make like cryptid like coloring books and stuff.
He actually, he actually coined the term cryptozoology
Okay.
to cover the study of,
Yeah.
unicorns and the Loch Ness monster. So he travels on to Florida on behalf of the New York Herald Tribune, and NBC. So it had caught national
Big
news
attention,
at
yeah.
this point. And he starts interviewing people in Clearwater, and he takes plaster casts of these prints. He's concluded that it was in no way a hoax because the tracks were way too big. They were too deep in the surf or in the beach. It was very heavy, and the stride was just too much. It was too much for a man to do, and nobody had seen machinery out there, so it had to be something coming out of the ocean and going back in.
Okay.
And so he concludes that it's probably a giant bird-like creature, something like a 14-foot tall penguin. And then he starts making even makes a claim that he saw a 12-foot, I think it was, let me look. He saw, a 12-foot tall, grayish yellow penguin type creature with giant feet, gives him the name Old Three Toes, says he saw it. And then so all the locals around there's like, I've seen it too. And so everybody starts having their tales of seeing Old Three Toes. And like I said earlier, some people started calling it the Clearwater Monster. The tracks appeared in various locations around the Tampa Bay area, close to Clearwater. It appeared for another 10 years and then suddenly stopped in 1958. So nothing else was ever found after 1958. 30 years later, a reporter who's, likes to report on local legends and these fabled creatures.
Yeah.
It's a she. She's interviewing the locals about what happened, 30 years earlier on these beaches. And one of the locals like, hey, I know somebody you need to talk to. You need to talk to Tony Signorini, I think is how you pronounce his last name.
Okay.
We'll just call him Tony. He'll tell you everything you need to know about this creature.
Okay.
So this reporter, she goes and talks to Tony. Tony starts laughing and says, are people still talking about that? Pulls out a pair of feet.
Yeah.
That 3 toes. They're made out of iron.
So they're heavy.
And they're super heavy. And then he starts telling the story about how he and his old boss at the time saw some dinosaur tracks in National Geographic. And they just decided, hey, let's have some fun with this. So Florida Man ended up being this creature.
Was 3-toed Florida Man.
It was a 3-toed Florida Man. And what they did is they attached him onto some sneakers. Somehow, I don't know how you would carry that around. And he would swing one of his legs several times and then hop with these feet. And then whenever he'd come down, he'd sink into the beach.
So
and then
that's why they were so far apart.
And it would take him hours and hours. He even talked about in one article that I read, he was like, I don't know how nobody caught me.
How was like that? Why?
Well, he ended up passing away some years later, and he passed these feet on to his son. And his son was like, I'm not doing this. And so they've been trying to get him to donate those feet to the local museums, to show everybody who the Clearwater Monster was.
Yeah.
But for 30 years after these first appeared in 1948, people were terrified of a monster that was coming out of the ocean, and it was just a Florida Man.
It's just some rando dude.
Way to go, Tony.
Boss wanted to have some fun.
Just wanting to have some fun. And he kept the secret for 30 years.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Keep that secret.
Good time. Yeah, and it reminds me of, you've heard our local legends of the Lake Worth Goat Man, right?
Yep.
Well, there was a book written several years ago, I'm going to say somewhere in the mid to late 90s, about somebody who was trying to find the goat man that lived in one of our nature reserves close by to where we live.
Yeah.
And my dad, when he was 17 years old, met this author, and told them that, oh yeah, we've seen this goat man. We saw him in an angry rage throw a tire across this ravine. And so they took the picture and everything. Well, this poor this poor author spent years and years researching it and writing this book, and it comes out, and lo and behold, there's my 17-year-old dad in the middle of this book with his friends, all with, you know, like packs of cigarette rolled up in their sleeves, you know, because it was like the, you know, late 60s or so at that point. And yeah, it wasn't. He lied about the whole thing. He told me when the book came out, he went and had the author sign it, and he told the author, "Hey, I was in your book." And yeah, he told me. Yeah, we were lying about that whole thing.
People will just believe anything if they want to.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And Dad, when Dad heard, you know, 17-year-old kid, oh, you're writing a book? Well, let me be in it.
I want to be in it.
I want to be in it. Of course, it didn't come out, like I said, till the late 90s.
Can I get my picture?
And I said, when you met the author again, did you tell him that you lied the whole thing? And he was like, I'm not going to destroy somebody's legacy like that.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, that's why I really don't, whenever anybody says that they saw a Bigfoot or anything like that, I think back to my dad.
Oh yeah.
No, you didn't.
Some of those people get crazy about the Bigfoot.
I know. Sometimes I watch those shows
Bigfoot
like Finding
and
Bigfoot.
Loch Ness, and like,
they are into it.
even if they're real, can we just like let Bigfoot live his life?
Right.
Like,
I think in Florida it's the skunk ape.
Like if they wanted to come out and be a part of society, they would. Like,
Right.
Just let them be a crotchety old.
I watched
cryptid.
Harry and the Hendersons, man. Just let them live their life.
If they're anything like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons,
Exactly.
that is the sweetest. Just imagine John Lithgow yelling at that poor thing.
Yeah.
Go!
Go, we don't want you. Yeah. Poor guy.
Poor guy.
So, well, those are my Florida. It was so hard to pick out the Florida men and women in my list this time because there are so many to choose from.
It's literally, I saw so many lists of Florida men. And it's so funny because I listened to this other podcast called Obsessed with Disappeared, where it's just a guy and his friend, and the two of them cover episodes of Disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Disappeared, that's on ID or whatever, it's like, I don't know, a billion seasons. And, like, they always kind of have, like, this, like, ongoing bit of, like, we're back in Florida. Like,
Mhm.
why Florida? Why can't you just
It's gotta
act
be-
right?
It's got to be the humidity and the heat or something.
It's the humidity. It's the heat.
It's having to rebuild every time a storm blows up.
I was there, yeah, like, I was there in the summer, and, like, the summer here is different than the summer there. It's both hot as hell and miserable, but, like, it just feels like you got out of a hot shower all the time.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Just always sticky. You don't want to get
And
any
there's
sort
just
of
swamps
leather.
and gators everywhere, so you can murder someone, just toss them to the gators.
Right.
Like,
Right.
why can we relocate the gators to a different environment?
I couldn't
Like,
understand why people would want like leather furniture and leather car seats and all that because you
Oh,
just
you're
stuck
sticking to everything?
on everything. Always chafed. Everything is chafed always.
Well, and in Texas too, you get like burns. Like
Yeah.
you get like
Yeah.
secondary burns on
We
the back
all
of your
have
ass.
covers on our
because-
seats.
Yes.
On our steering wheel, we all have
Yes.
covers on our
Yes,
steering
like-
wheel because you can't drive like this.
Yeah, trying to touch everything. Ow, 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 ow.
And we have our fair share of stories in Texas too. So
Oh,
I can't
for
I can't
sure.
make fun of Florida too much because we've got.
I mean,
got
I
the
feel
same-
like everyone has their thing. Like, you know, like California and that end of things, like it's a bunch of hippy dippy weirdos smoking weed and, you know, all of
Mhm.
that. And then, like, you know, in New York, you've got like the mafia and all
Oh
like,
yeah,
that crazy
Boston
stuff.
and all that.
and,
Yeah,
and in the South, we're just crazy, and
yeah.
we're gonna
We're
jump into that Bass
Gun
Pro,
toting,
gun-toting, mannequin welding,
flurry eating.
camel sucking. And
Oh
that's what we
boy,
are. You just gotta own it, and this is just what we are.
that's just
and
what we are.
We're
We're used to being in
trash.
the South. Yeah, we're just trash. We've got our own way of doing things.
I feel like there might be one state somewhere in the middle that's like square-like that's pretty normal, and the rest of us are just like.
I don't think so. We're all Americans here, so
That's true.
we've all got our awfulness.
It's true. At least these stories were funny.
Yeah, at least
Most of them.
we got that going for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, that's our show for this
That's
week.
it this time. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy show.
Yeah.
We'll have some more for you next week, and I hope you enjoyed us. Now make sure that you subscribe and follow us on any of the platforms we're available on. You can watch our videos on YouTube, or you can catch us on Spotify or Google Podcasts. We're still working on getting on some more platforms. And you can also email us at b.list.forever with a 4 instead of forever. You use the number 4. If you look in on our videos, we've got it posted up on our videos, and we also have it in our descriptions as well. So if you want to
leave us some comments, send us an email.
If you got any ideas for us, let us know, because sometimes we draw a blank on what to talk about. So suggestions are great.
Suggestions are awesome.
And as always,
as always,
be sweet.
Be sweet. Be nice. Be kind to each other.
Be kind to each other.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Love you.
Love
Be
you.
safe.
Let me call you sweetheart. Turn